Hey, this is Ben Conway at Skeletron, and we've joined the Alliance. To the late night side. It's the thrill of the hunt, gotta make it mine. I'm out here searching.
This is Sir Dork, and I have joined the Alliance.
I'm raising the stakes. Action figure alliance, yeah, we're bringing the noise.
Hey, it's Sean.
It's Audrey. I'm Brenda.
And we're Strut Family Crafts, and we've joined the Alliance.
Plastic in hand, we're playing no games. From legends to villains, yeah, I got 'em all.
I'm Adam from the Nameless Toy Company, and I've joined the Alliance.
Every line, every way, from the past to the new. It's a bond, it's a crew, we're the real Toy Zoo. Tear it through the package.
I'm Travis Moody from the Toy Kind of Mood, and I joined the Alliance.
Call it a phase, this ain't just a trend. These figures got history, they're my closest friends. Action figure alliance.
I'm KJ, aka Black Dingus, and I've joined the Alliance.
To the shelves, we're making a stand. This is our world, you don't understand.
I'm Mr. Retro, and I've joined the Alliance.
In the works, we go all night. From the rarest grills to the two-town fights. Each one's got a story.
Well, I'm Jonathan from Nostalgia Unboxed, total idiot, but smart enough to join the Alliance.
With my action toys, collectors unite. We're breaking the chains, plastic in hand. We're playing no.
Hey guys, this is Ace, and Ramen Toy has joined the Alliance.
From legends to villains, yes, yeah, got 'em all. We're after legends.
Hey everyone, this is Chris Scott from Grindhouse Toys, and I'm part of the Alliance.
This is our prime. From legends to villains.
Are you up?
Did it work?
Hello?
Did it work?
Okay.
Are you having technical difficulties? All right, Alan will be back. He's having some technical difficulties thanks to Evie Mux, but we're here. How's everybody doing tonight? We're going to talk about toys and have a good time. So,
Am I back? I think I'm back.
are you back? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that was fucking
Okay.
weird.
So the EV Mux gave us a picture-in-picture thing, so you can be on a different screen, and a little picture of our stream will be in the corner. And I don't know, it messed you up, right?
Yeah, I don't know. That was pretty strange, but no big deal.
New features. It's all good.
Hey, we're beta testing or something, maybe.
Yeah.
Dang, man, we got a nice full house already. It looks like. What's happening? Brian King and Magna and Evil Dookie. Everybody else tuning in. Drop some comments or something. Oh, hey, and if you're even on the replay squad, we love interacting with you guys after the fact, as it may be.
Yeah. Throw out a comment and we'll talk
absolutely.
to you, man.
And Trey will say something really weird.
Sipping on a scissor. Because last week he was sipping on a scissor.
Yeah. I don't know, man. So I'm not as loopy tonight, but I was up working until after 4 a.m. So I'm definitely still a little out of it. But it's Rizzo is in here. It's T Rizzo. It's Trizzo.
It's Trizzo.
It's Trizzo. So we got a cool one. I think this is going to be a fun topic, talking about how our collections change over times, and really it's our habits that are changing, and we're kind of we might pivot. Somebody might like go hardcore Transformers all of a sudden without any notice. But that kind of stuff happens, and we're going to kind of talk about the events that kick that off, and like why you might want to do it, why you might not want to. Because I've done that stuff before too. I've got a past just like everybody else. But then we also got some Take My Money, a little bit of some new hotness, and a smattering of some other stuff if we get around to it. Yeah. Fantastic photos, customs, whatever. We'll see. But yeah, man, you ready to kick off our intro and get under the way?
Let's roll.
Under the way. In a pleasant world where legends collide, tiny heroes standing side by side, guardians of place
Yeah. What?
So I'm going to kick on some music here. You want to start off with some new hotness? That seems to be the way we've been doing stuff lately.
Yeah, let's do it.
You going to your desk cam?
No. No, we're just going to show us the stuff.
It's got to keep me on my toes, I guess, is what you're trying to say, huh?
So, move this out of the way. There's a mic there. Let me move it back. There's stuff in the way. Anyway, either way. So, this weekend, we had an NC Underground toy swap event at Rogue Toys in Sanford.
And what was the temperature?
It was freaking cold, man. It was cold. There's not as many people showed up, but there was probably at least 15 or 20 of us out there bearing the cold, setting up toys. And
yours truly did not make the cold, but no. I'm working on other stuff.
He just called me, was like, "Hey, is there anything there?" No, not really. It was okay, man. It was good. So I sold some stuff. I made some trades, and the typical swap to increase the goods. But I found this Thundercracker. I said I wasn't gonna do the Triangle Seekers, Tetrajets, whatever. But now I have all three.
Of course. Exactly. I think they're cool. I actually like those designs. I thought they were neat.
I think now that I have them in hand, I was like, all right, I'm gonna have a Cybertron shelf, and I was like, these will be good on the Cybertron shelf, or they're gonna look really cool hanging from the ceiling, like in an angle with all in a 3 formation. That'll look really cool. So that's probably what I'm gonna end up doing with those guys. But I got Thundercracker, and then
was the tower.
Yeah, and then I did something else that I said I wasn't going to do. I kind of after I watched Kingdom for the 3rd time.
Okay.
I decided that I was going to get some beasts. I got this Shadow Cat, and I got this Tigertron. And man,
does Tigertron have a huge penis?
It's a gun that attaches to his belly.
Oh.
But yeah, I can see
that is not a good spot for that. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
These are pure poop, man. These are trash. Not in a good way. I mean, the robot mode looks horrible. This mode kind of looks bad on both.
Gosh.
Yeah, I'm not impressed with these at all. So I don't think I'll be getting any more of those. I do have an Optimus Primal coming because that one looks pretty decent, but yeah, those aren't that great. And then, so I'm gonna show off all the Transformers and then the one non-Transformer thing I got. Okay. So I got Snapdragon, last of the headmasters that I need, I think. So he is a big old headmaster, triple changer. So I hadn't opened him yet, but there
What's
he is.
His name?
Snapdragon.
Man, he's pulling out some dudes I've never even heard of before. And I thought
Headmasters, dude.
Pretty decent, Transformers fan.
If you go on YouTube, you can watch all kinds of stuff, man. The Headmasters dubbed to English. It's actually not a bad show.
Oh, so Headmasters is a cartoon in and of itself.
Headmasters is a Japanese cartoon that came after season 3, and it was in Japan, and then they dubbed it into English.
Yeah,
it's kind of bad in some places, but it is like
I've seen some of Armada. I've heard that's really good.
I haven't really messed.
I didn't even know Headmasters was a thing.
Yep. Headmasters is it's not bad. I mean, that's where you get Six Shot. It's where you get a lot of stuff, man. All the Headmasters, and I had Chrome Dome as a kid. I think was the only Headmaster I had, but I love that character, and so I picked up a Quintesson Alicon. Hadn't opened him yet, but he kind of turns into like a shark thingy, alligator looking thing. But I figured at least have one of him. And let me move this stuff for this massive beast of Nemesis. Superman just took a freaking dive. But Nemesis.
God. There we go. That comment.
Not to get. Yeah. This thing is freaking cool.
But it's not at the bottom of an ocean.
No, not at the bottom of the ocean. And it like this little fin
Oh, okay.
flails out so you can set it down. But,
Yeah.
The alt mode of this, the robot mode, is really cool. It's a lady. She. This is a she. The Nemesis is a girl. But it's a really cool piece. I gotta figure out where the heck I'm gonna put it. And then what else? Oh yeah. This thing down here. Oh, look at that. Omega Supreme. If you're gonna get a Titan, get this one. This one's badass. And I got some pictures to prove it. Because Omega Supreme was one of my favorites as a kid.
He was mine too. Absolutely.
One of my favorites as a kid, definitely. And this dude doesn't disappoint. He's sturdy. He's got all the detail you want on a big ass Titan figure. And he transforms into his little base with the rocket and everything. Yeah, I am indeed. Yeah. Where's your little wallet smasher thing? That's me. Yeah. So yeah, there's that, and then. But I did trade. Speaking of things I traded for, well, I went heavy on Monster Force, and I went a little too heavy on Monster Force. So I had some things I wanted to trade. Well, you know how I love Mezco. I got me a Superman, Man of Steel,
Okay.
and I traded for him. So now I have him. I have Christopher Reeves too. So I got to figure out where I'm going to put Christopher Reeves because now I got this. But that's going in my Justice League shelf. I might just keep Christopher Reeves in there too, but I don't know. They're very similar, but you gotta have Christopher Reeves. He's Superman. If you need two Supermans, you gotta have Christopher Reeves and Man of Steel, the comic looking one. So there's that. And then, I got something that was freaking cool. It's really the shit because it came from Evil Dookie.
Oh, there you go.
It's the shit. Evil Dookie gave me this. It says Evil Dookie on the bottom. It's a little piece of shit. It's the shit. Appreciate it, Dookie. He bought something from me at the swap. Go check out his channel. He bought the Police Extreme sets that I had that you can't find anywhere, and I hooked him up. So, and then Goose here. Where's Goose? Goose is not here. Well, Goose, when you watch this, Goose hooked me up. I sent him something. He sent me something. I got my Prowl for Blocky's Galaxy versions 1 series. This completes it. So I now have every figure in the 01 series. So appreciate that. And I sent him some stuff and an AFA sticker. And then today I tried a Defender class for Blockies. And I got Rumble. Rumble got a big ass head.
He tiny,
and he got a big ass head. Like you could take that and put it on a regular figure.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I'm in on this line. I got this one, and I was like, okay, it's a character I like, but it's a little too cartoony for me.
Yeah.
It's a little too like big head kid toy for me.
Yeah.
So that might be the last one I get. I won't see this. That's how you get Devastator and Bruticus and all that stuff is in that line because they have vehicles too. But I only want those. I don't want the rest. and then one last thing. So I got this several weeks ago.
And he's got a fishing pole.
He's got a fishing pole because that's what he does. So I got Hot Rod. He was fishing, but when I got him, his gray faceplate was not there. Wasn't in the package. Wasn't anywhere to be found. So I messaged Blocky's customer service and I had to send them a picture and proof that I bought it. And which I'm glad I bought it online. And because I bought it in a pack, I bought the complete pack so I'd have it all.
Yeah.
And it took them 3.5 weeks to send me the faceplate, but they sent me the entire head. So if you ever missing a piece of a Blocky's figure, Send them an email with your proof of purchase, receipt, whatever, and a picture showing what you're missing and what exactly it is, and they'll send you the piece. That's good to know.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I think that's it.
All right. Well, I'm gonna hop on over here.
Okay.
My desk cam. Okay, so you got little Mikey over here, but I went on AliExpress and I bought some stuff. So I've got like an impact crater here, and what's cool is this like comes apart in like multiple pieces. So you can do like, you know, big smashing, and there's even smaller bits that like come off from around the top and stuff like that. And I thought that was really cool. It's got peg holes on the back, so you could even like maybe put it on a stand or, you know, attach it to something and kind of have some of the pieces floating or something. So I thought that was neat.
Be a good Hulk
because I did a little shopping spree. I got some smoke effects.
Okay.
There's a few bits to these, and these are really cool. These are fairly basic. They just kind of have a flat side, and you just kind of plop them like that. You know, it looks better for the camera like this. But
do they like if you put a light behind them, will they reflect, like carry the light a little bit, or
a little bit?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean they're kind of semi-translucent. Yeah, but I mean you can kind of see they've got a kind of a sheen to them and stuff, and they're pretty cool. And then I got this one was the first one I kind of started messing with because it's a bit extravagant, if you will. So it's like an impact crater, as well as like some energy effects and stuff. And so this one's kind of neat because you can assemble the impact crater and it will take up that whole little area if you want. And then you've got like a stand, and you've got these I don't know what you call it, just like arms. These are just kind of softer plastic, and so you can kind of bend them and put them in place. And
somebody's planning on doing some toy photography.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. I think it's pretty neat. This
you
is
can combine that with the first Smash thing and make a really cool effect. That's awesome.
What's that?
You can kind of combine that with the first Smash effect you had, and like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're fairly similar, but you know, this one with all the floating bits and the energy effect, I thought was cool. And then I got some swooshes. Hold on a second. There we go. So these have these little rings right here with pegs on them, and these will allow you to like attach them to arms or legs or wherever, and then you can attach, you know, the little swoosh effect to that. So you can see kind of, you know, whooshes and swooshes and stuff. I just thought it was cool.
Nice.
These all just came in today, so I haven't had a chance to open them all. And I got one more. This one's a little bit similar to the other one, but this is kind of like purple lightning magic instead of the blue flame and the rock thing. This has got like, you know, kind of Thor style effects and stuff. So yeah, here you go. So it's like this, only it's purple. They've got a bunch of different colors.
All this came from where?
AliExpress.
Okay.
So in all of this stuff, I've maybe got like 80, 90 bucks. And
not bad, honestly.
No, it's not. I mean, the shipping was a little bit harsh. I think the shipping was maybe 20-ish. I forget exactly, but
yeah, you bundle it all together, it shipped at one shipping price. So that's
yeah. I got it all at once, and that was decent. But like if you look on BBTS, you can find some of these things like similar from like Bandai and stuff, and they're like $40 a pop, man.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no, I'm gonna go get a whole bunch for like, you know.
So you trust AliExpress? I've never really dealt with them much. I've ordered maybe one or two things. The shipping's what gets me. And then I've known some people that ordered some stuff off of AliExpress, and they were supposed to get one thing, and they got something completely different.
Well, okay,
And-
so AliExpress is just a marketplace, dude. Like,
yeah.
anybody and everybody can have a storefront on there, and so it's about finding a good storefront with good
Right.
reviews, and But I did get a knockoff once of something that I didn't really know was a knockoff when I ordered it, and they just refunded me all my money and let me keep it. So
okay,
whatever. But this is kind of the big thing for the week that showed up. So this is Hasuki Salvo Series Black Ops. This is the Sierra Ghost or something like that. And essentially, I've got him right here. He is like an Alpine soldier.
I need it!
Yeah, for sure. This thing is pretty awesome. I mean, it is detailed out the ass.
I like it a lot.
Yeah. So, okay, when we get around to the back here is when things really start to get crazy. So
Dude, he's got
with
climbing gear.
Yeah, he comes with a ton of climbing gear. All these carabiners come empty, and so you've got all these different kind of hooks and little ropes and stuff like that. I took the time to put them on the carabiner and then attached them to his belt, which has all sorts of different loops and spots where you can put that stuff. It's wild. And then he's got a couple of climbing ice picks.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's even got a cover for his backpack that's in the same camouflage, this Arctic kind of camouflage. It kind of cinches around it and stuff. So yeah, pretty awesome, man. This is a fiddly figure. I mean, all those little bits and stuff. He even has like an overlay that you can put on his shoes to give him the climbing spikes and stuff. And these are not permanently attached. So yeah, pretty freaking crazy. But Hasuki makes awesome stuff. So yeah, pretty cool figure. With these spikes on, he's not going to be super stable. But you don't need to keep those on. And this stuff, his gear is almost entirely removable. So you can take off the coat and the pants, and he's got like an undersuit on. Like all of these things here are like Velcro and can kind of pull off his web gear and shit. Yeah, it's wild, dude.
Shelf candy. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Shelf candy.
But yeah, that is all of my new hotness.
Cool. Yeah, that's all awesome, man. That thing's probably sold out everywhere.
I don't know. I picked that one up from 5K. I'd be surprised if they didn't still have some in stock. Let's go.
Might have to go. Might have to go get it.
Let's see. Maybe stock. Nope, sold out.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can find it somewhere else, but yeah. Oh well, shit happens. Oh, you know what? On that subject, I missed out on Starkiller from Hasbro.
Really?
Yeah. Wasn't paying attention, and that night when we talked about it, and I was like, yeah, I think I'll pick that up. I forgot and didn't get to it, and he's kind of sold out everywhere right now.
Yeah, I'm glad I went and got him, man. I went and got him and something else. I don't remember. It was at the time, but yeah, I had to pick him up, and yeah,
I'm sure I'll find him, but
yeah, you'll probably find it.
Yeah, when it actually ships and shows up in stock, I know Nerdzoic or BBTS will have some extra.
Maybe even Hidden Temple got a few, so you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I'll reach out to Ed and see what he's got going on with that. For sure. Hey, everybody, give us a like, share, and subscribe if you would. We're having fun over here and need more people to have fun with us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, get more people to be up. Shit. Yeah, I know. Hasbro's on me for this one. Yep. Yeah, it is. It's absolutely my fault. But I will say I've got the 6 scale version. So
Yeah. Nice. Nice.
yeah. What do you say, man? You wanna get in to our topic?
Sure. Yeah. Definitely.
Because it's already come up in the comments.
Yeah.
Specifically around your stuff. You know what we didn't do?
What's that?
Uh-oh. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-woo!
Hey.
It's hump day.
Right.
Yeah. So, you have a couple of times since we've been friends.
Yeah.
You've already shifted gears like at least 2 times majorly. Like,
Well, it is so. Yes and no. So, all right.
no, yes, that's all. Yes,
Yeah. I mean, I do. They're both right here.
yes.
Both of those things are right here. So on each one of these shelves. So yeah, G.I. Joe, Vintage, and Transformers. Yes, both part of my childhood. Both heavy nostalgic things. Dom Burrito PO tomorrow. Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later.
We will.
Larry Hama's thing. He has an announcement that was cool. I like the way they did that. She's one of Larry's characters, so it's cool to have Larry put that out there. But yeah, I've dove down the rabbit hole 2 separate times with maybe several more at cons. We'll talk about that too when we get to cons and you get the con hype and you dive in a line and then you kind of not really regret it later, but hey, I don't have room for that.
We had some regrets.
Yeah, fun regrets. Fun regrets with toys. But I mean, I had G.I. Joe Vintage as a kid and I loved it. And I had G1 Transformers as a kid and I loved them. So the fact that it took me this long to get into Transformers and that I just, when I go at something, I go hard at it. So there it is. That's, I've realized that I like what I like and I'm going to get what I like. And you lose interest in some things. Like my wife has told me this many times. When me and her first met, my collection didn't exist in its own toy room. It was a couple bookshelves. And then it kind of grew over time. She helped me clean out all the toys my daughter had in the other room that she didn't really use anymore. And then I started building a toy room, and it was mostly Transformers and Marvel Legends. And that's where things started with me. I was reading a lot of comics, as I always have, read a lot of comics. I picked up 3.75 Star Wars, and it was either Power to the Force or Vintage Series, and I was buying them left and right. I was army building stormtroopers, but the real reason I got them is because I had those little Galoob ships and those little ships Hasbro was putting out for Star Wars, and I wanted a pilot to go next to them. So I had this really cool display of all the Star Wars ships with a pilot next to them, and that kind of started.
When did you start picking up those ships?
I just saw them at a store one day. I think I had picked up a couple Marvel Legends, and that was where things kind of started. And I picked up some of those ships because I thought they were cool. And that collection started to build out a little faster than the Marvel Legends did. And then so I decided I wanted pilots to go with them, and I made that display. And I started Black Series, and eventually after NC Underground Toy Swap started selling off the 3.75 and switching it to Black Series. And the reason I did that, because we want to talk about what's the reasoning behind why you do something.
Yeah.
Was that I like the larger scale. I thought it had more detail. The posability was more enjoyable to me, that I could do setups and stuff. Because what really got me going in the whole toy thing was I was reading the comics and I wanted something. I started posing figures to match what was on the front of the comic cover and taking pictures of them. And I took some pictures of them. I was in a line at a Comic-Con to meet and get an autograph from Kevin Eastman. and I was in line with several dudes, and I pulled up my phone and I showed this guy. I was like, "Hey, this is what I've been doing. I've been taking pictures of toys and comics kind of posed together." And he's like, "Oh man, that's awesome. You should start an Instagram." And I said, "Hey, what's Instagram?" I didn't know what Instagram was. This is like 2014, and I was like, "I don't know what Instagram is." And so I went home and I looked at what Instagram was, and I racked my brain of what I was going to call it. And I was like, toys, comics pushed together is Toyomics. So that's how the origin of my name came, that I go by, came from, and it came from that. So that's where I'm at. I mean, that's where it came from. Like the whole origin of the name I go by is from toys and comics and posing stuff together. And I used to do it all the time, and I wish I need to get back to it. I used to think, I'm gonna have a room full of comic book covers with the toys posed beside of them, and that never happened.
Yeah,
I have a couple. I got the first appearance of Boba Fett in the case over there with 3 figures in front of it, and that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I'd like to finish out that one day, maybe with Amazing Spider-Man 129. That was one of the ones I did. I don't actually have that book. I had a reprint of that book and did that pose, and just stuff like that was fun.
So I'll dig into a little bit of my past here and kind of get a little bit caught up to you. I've collected off and on most of my life. Really, the only time that I was pretty much off was kind of like mid-teenage years. Girls were important, music was important, playing D&D was important, but
right.
Collecting action figures at that time was kind of not really for me. But like the origin of my collecting actually goes back to the Stompy Robot thing. So I've said it on here before, but I had some significant health problems when I was a kid, specifically around asthma. For a long time, I actually even lived in a tent at a hospital, where they control and the oxygen, and they like I had like an IV all the time, and it wasn't fun. But when I'm doing that, I think my parents and family kind of took a little bit of pity and wanted to do anything they could to make me happy. And my mom went and picked up Shogun Warrior, one of the die-cast ones from I think it was called like Airways or something at the time, which became Target. Okay. And they had like a whole section of import stuff. And she bought me some of those, and I just fell in love with them right away. Nice. I mean, I'd already I'd picked up, like, I think Star Wars was nearly around the same time, and so some of that happened too. But that was a bit more when I was, I think, out of the hospital. But so that kind of started me with toys, especially in the big robots, And then like every kid of my age. Or person of my age, when they were a kid, the Saturday morning cartoon stuff was just, I mean, man, that hit so hard. And it was just
bowl of cereal, and you sit down and just binge watch.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. Loved it. And that really, got me, honestly, it was just a matter of, Mom, I want it, and G1, G1 Transformers, G.I. Joe. I mean, all that kind of stuff was just awesome. I had plenty of He-Man too. All that kind of stuff, man. It was perfect. And so I mean, that kept me going for a good while. I think around that same time, I think I kind of started to get into some Lego too. So that was there as well. And it was, I think when I was that age, at least, I didn't have a whole lot of control over what I was collecting. It was just kind of a matter of, what my parents would get for me.
Because when you're a kid, I want that and that and that and that. And then they have to tell you, like, all right, what do you want to focus on?
Right.
And like,
nobody does
G.I. Joe. Yeah. I was like, I want G.I. Joe. Or,
I didn't get that. It was just, oh, I got a Voltron figure. I got, a G.I. Joe. I got a He-Man. It was just all over the place, and that was cool and that was fun. But, then, kind of grew a little older. And yeah, like I was saying, I got into music, got into Dungeons and Dragons and girls and all that sort of stuff. And the collecting kind of went by the wayside. Maximilian said he was a sick, spoiled kid too. Yeah, it's a thing. But yeah, so I kind of grew out of that for that sort of a stage. But what happened to me that got me back into collecting a bit more hardcore was comic books. I actually I was doing web development for a while when I was young, during kind of early days of the .com boom. I was making stupid money for a teenager, and was looking for stuff to spend it on. And one of the things that I ended up coming across during one of my late nights of writing up web pages and making storefronts and shit was Spawn. And I loved the artwork. It was just so angular and shadowy, but still had spots where it was bright and explosive. And so Todd McFarlane, man, he was a bad man when he was doing his own art on Spawn. So I went and I started buying Spawn, and that got me into some of the early Image books. And I saw the action figures. I saw the Spawn figures. And it wasn't McFarlane Toys back then. I think it was like Todd Toys.
Yeah.
But it became McFarlane anyway. And
they were the brutalest toys anybody had ever seen too. They were like, you saw those and you were like, oh man, that's sick. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, and they had some wild stuff, man, in terms of like, they knew how to get you. If you had a little bit of that collector's, kind of addiction, like, oh, there was a variant of Spawn with a hamburger head. There was, like, there was an Angela one that they called Party Angela because she didn't wear any panties. And it was just like all the stupid little, variants and stuff. And that got me. I was going around to different comic book stores and finding some of that. And it was, it was fun, man. But I think most of these, like, the early stuff, like I was saying, I didn't really have much of a say in my collection. It was just kind of like what was popular and what people would give to me, birthdays, when I was in the hospital, whatever, in that point in time, I did make the decision, that was me consciously like, oof, got to get it. These are cool. I want all of them. But I was vastly an in-box collector then. Like, I didn't really open any of my Spawn figures. And then I actually started working at a comic book store, and it just made it all that much worse. We'd get the stuff in, and I'd be like, sweet, I'm taking one of each of these, and to the point where I was just even ordering stuff directly for myself. So, that's kind of, got me to that point. But there was even still like a period of time where it was kind of like, okay, I'm over these a little bit. I think I'm going to kind of put this aside. And it was kind of just like, what am I doing with these? I'm not getting much like the enjoyment that I was having was finding them,
Right.
And I got to get this one variant, and going and trying to find that, and
you like the hunt, and a lot of us, I think, we live for the hunt in certain things, even though we're not going out physically toy hunting in a store. The chase, especially with some of these, Transformers. For me, going on Whatnot, I'll see something like, oh man, I need that, order, and some of it is the chase, and there is some regret, there is some buyer's remorse when you get some of these and you say, oh, that figure kind of sucks. So and it's trial and error, and you learn. But then everybody, when I got into Transformers, which was not very long ago, was you're gonna hate yourself when you discover third party. you're gonna hate that you went so hard at all these Hasbro toys. Sorry there, a little bit of Brooklyn, but that you're gonna love these third parties. You're gonna want to get more, and I think that's gonna be true.
Yeah.
But you have to kind of go through that cycle, in my opinion. You have to go through a bit of that cycle. Maybe not as crazy as I did, but you have to go through that cycle to understand it and to realize that, hey, these are cool, but maybe there's a better option out there. But that option's also more expensive, and it's also harder to get if you're not on top of it. So these maybe not as hard to get as others. So there's a benefit to being on both sides. But you talked about you didn't take long away from being a toy collector. I did, because I would say after 1995, when I was 15, I was out of toys. I was still drawing, I was still reading comics and stuff, but I mean, I went to college in '98, and that was it. I didn't have any of that stuff. I didn't take any of it with me. It stayed in my room at the house. Like, I had given away a bunch of my vintage G.I. Joes for a fifth of Jack Daniels when I was 16. That was the dumbest toy trade I ever made in my life. But it lost value to me, and there was no value behind any of it, nostalgic or whatsoever. So I was just, and I gave my Transformers to kids at church so they could enjoy them. I gave my Legos to my nephews that passed down to my niece, that passed down to my daughter, who enjoyed them.
That's
so
funny.
that kind of, all my Legos kind of went through that process.
I kind of compacted things some, but like for me, that was a pretty long stretch for where there was, nothing to picking up Spawn, doing those sorts of things. I mean, that was a good long stretch. And even then, like I was saying, I was in box collecting, and they mostly, like, I don't even think I really displayed them very well or at all. It was just like, I wanted the collection. And so, those kind of went into some big boxes and, got shoved in a closet and almost forgotten about after I'd stopped picking them up. And then again, there was kind of like a big stretch. There was nothing. And a couple of things happened there that sort of got me back. So mostly it was, I met my wife, and Lego started happening again. I was given Lego as a gift, I think one Christmas. I don't remember whether it was her or my mother-in-law that gave me like a Star Wars Lego set. Mm-hmm. And I had a blast putting it together. I was like, this is really freaking cool. And so Lego was a bit of a quick one for me. I quickly was like, oh, I'm going to do all the things kind of like you did. Not as hardcore as you do, but I definitely picked up quite a bit. And then it got to the point where it was like, oh man, I don't even have, the time to get through all the stuff that I want to put together, let alone any place to display it, But in the meantime, something interesting happened. I bought Casey a Hot Toys figure of Jack Sparrow. Mm-hmm. And that started my modern day action figure collecting.
Right.
Because I got that for her. I don't remember exactly when it was. It was a Christmas present, and I got it for her, I think, in maybe like September. Mm-hmm. And by the time Christmas rolled around, I had two others for myself.
Right.
Before I'd even given her the one, and I had to like squirrel those two others away. So that's where kind of the modern day figure collecting started. And there's still even been, not as many twists and turns as in Trey's path of collecting. But that kind of got me on the current road of collecting. So, and that's really, I think, where I've taken more conscious. I've made more choices that it's been kind of like, okay, why do I want to get this? Does this make sense to collect? I have gone hardcore here and there, and it's gotten a little bit away from me, but now I'm starting to reel back. And why don't you tell us a little bit more about, your more recent kind of modern collecting habits and what is like we had talked about, we had just, I'd touched on it a little bit, but that decision-making process, what led to this change or that change, you know?
So I will say this: I would not be here if it wasn't for a friend of mine at my former work putting in the 4 issues of Death of Wolverine on my desk. Once he did that, I started reading comics again, which led me to be like, hey, I want something to represent this character on page, which led to Marvel Legends. Marvel Legends led to the McFarlane DC, actually Mattel DC, that led to Marvel DC.
Yeah.
And then Mezco. At an NC Underground toy swap, I learned what a Mezco figure was, and I'd never seen it before. I was like, holy crap, look at the detail and the soft goods on this thing, you know? I don't even remember what the first one I got was, but, you know, I started getting Mezco, and there's a whole case of them over here that, you know, I love the look in Mezco. I've never taken a better toy photographer picture with, unless it was a Mezco. Mezco, I get the best toy photography. But getting into that,
it's interesting, if I can interject, it's interesting that comics is what pulled us both in
Yeah.
to our modern collecting.
Yeah. And I still read. Like, I was at Ultimate Comics today. It's Wednesday. It's New Comic Book Day. I got G.I. Joe, Transformers, and a couple other things. There's a Jar Jar Binks comic out. I got it just because it's Jar Jar Binks, and I wanted to see what it was like. Is it total trash? The cover art was cool. It's got that Ahmed Best dude in it as that character or whatever he is, but he actually wrote it too. So, you know, I like picking up random stuff like that. There's a new Deadpool. There's a Deadpool 1. I'm a big Deadpool fan, so I picked up Deadpool 1. You can't go wrong with a Deadpool 1.
A Deadpool.
So, a Deadpool. Here's a Deadpool. So yeah, I mean, I told myself early on, I'm not going to get it at G.I. Joe Classified. I'm not doing it. When the line first came out, I wasn't going to do it. I watched.
So why? But tell me why you had that resistance to it.
I didn't have space. To me, I didn't have space at the time. I had a room full of Black Series, Mezco, and Marvel Legends. And I just didn't have the space for it. And a whole bunch of comics, and I'm still reading the comics heavy, really heavy then.
Yeah.
And so it was like, all right, I like G.I. Joe, but do I really want to dive down this? And I watched the Snake Eyes movie that everybody hates, but it was enough to be like, all right, I'm gonna go pick up this Snake Eyes figure because I saw it and it was cheap at the time. And I picked up that Snake Eyes movie figure and I was like, okay, I like this. So then I got a Duke. And then I got a Cobra Commander, and then and then it progressed into, all right, I'm fully in this line, and I'm buying it. So that was really nostalgia is what kicked in after a little bit, and I saw the movie, and I was like, man, let me at least I'll try one, and that's where everything is. I'll try one.
Yeah,
you know. Let me see. Like today, I picked up this Blocky's Defenders, and I was like, all right, it's not for me. I understand that now. But I could have got it and been like, hey, this is awesome. I'm going to go full in on Blocky's Defenders. I'm not. But because I'm in Galaxy series. Galaxy version. But, you know, the other thing was like, I guess the big one for me after G.I. Joe Classified was people were going Mythic Legions or Valorverse. And a lot of people are getting into into Valorverse now, in Action Force stuff now, but there was a ton of people in Mythic Legions, absolute ton, and it didn't get me. And I don't know what's going on in the chat, but you do it. I'll let you deal with that. I'll talk you. You deal with the chat. But I wasn't feeling the Mythic Legions. I have some. I've since collected a skeleton crew of literally of skeletons, night skeletons. But I went Valorverse, and I went hard at Valorverse to the point where I customized it heavy, and I got so much now. It's like, all right, I got to get rid of some for me to put more on the shelf. So yeah, just making those decisions as they come up. And I could have went all Mythic Legions. I had a ton of Mythic Legions, but I didn't. So then when G.I. Joe Classified came in, the thing that got me was not Classified. When Vintage came in for me, you were at that swap. You saw me do it. I bought a water moccasin and a copperhead, And I was like, and I got a good deal on it. I was like, oh man, look at this. This is cool. I had this as a kid. And literally in my head, I'm thinking about me as a kid in our pool, running the water moccasin around. And there's a video floating out there that my aunt has of me playing with my water moccasin in the pool. And I loved it, man. And so I got that, and that instantly bit me. That same day, I got the tomahawk. I got that tomahawk right there because I didn't have a tomahawk as a kid, but a friend of mine did. And I was like, all right. I went and got me a tomahawk, and then it just steamrolled from there. And then
it did. Just like you're doing currently with Transformers.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And I've got to a point with G.I. Joe that I've even told people, is like, Carson Metaxas is putting out that book that has a checklist in it. And I don't have everything complete 100%, but I want that checklist before I dive any deeper. And I hope it comes out. I pray it comes out before Joe Fest. Even if it doesn't, I know a couple things that I want to get. But I mean, I went and got the things I wanted and the things that I saw, and I got deals on a lot of it. And I've sold like all my Black Series that I had. I kept what I wanted. I sold the rest. I had 2 huge bins, like maybe 6 months ago, of Stormtroopers for my Army build and Clone Troopers, and I've sold them all. Sold them all on Whatnot, and I took that money and reinvested it in the Transformers. So
yeah,
it wasn't just coming straight out of pocket for Transformers. It was sell off what I have, get what I want. So I mean, the thought process with Transformers 2 was pure nostalgia. Like,
yeah,
I was able to make a trade. I didn't have to come out of pocket for it. I was able to make a trade for things I had. I traded some 6-inch Stormtroopers. I got the whole Superion set. I got the whole Ultra Magnus, complete. And, that was it, man. I was in.
Yeah, I get it, dude. It's interesting that we both kind of come from a similar place, but our reasoning is significantly different. So I think the thing, obviously I was saying that my modern collecting is based around Hot Toys. And I think the thing that I found that I liked with them so much was just how good they looked on the shelf. I didn't, do very well with displaying my Spawn figures. I had a small kind of nerd room, which, had my comic books and had, some of my Lego and stuff in it, and some vintage figures that I still had, but not much. But then, like, man, the Hot Toys, the shelf presence that they had was just like something completely different,
Right.
And so yeah, that kind of spiraled, and then they started doing the MCU stuff. And that was great too. And I was really on, high on the MCU stuff at that point in time. Anyway,
but that's all died off, man. The MCU figures is not a thing really right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I did that for a long time. And then, Hot Toys honestly kind of stopped doing new. They would do, they would do a reissue of an Iron Man a dozen freaking times. They would do Spider-Man over and over, and it was like, I don't really have much more interest in them. Nothing that they were putting out was really doing it for me. I'd pick up 1 or 2 here and there. Like, I think I picked up Mandalorian. I picked up Moon Knight. Some of those I thought were cool, and I picked those up. But it had really gotten to the point where it died down, and I don't remember how I came across it, but this is just a few years ago. This is maybe 5 years ago. I came across, I think maybe it was at Kokomo Toys. I picked up the 1,000 Toys Master Chief, 1/12 scale Master Chief figure. It was very expensive, but man, I was really impressed by it. And I was like, I didn't realize that 12th scale figures looked that good now. And what I found in that I wasn't getting out of Hot Toys wasn't just the fact that it looked good. There was something that I was missing from Hot Toys, and that was, with Hot Toys, most of the time, once I pose it, and I put it on my display,
Mhm.
I don't really touch it that much anymore. I might go back and mess with them here and there. If I get something new, I might do a different pose on the figures on that shelf, and that's kind of, keeps me messing with them. But that had obviously stopped. But the new thing was the posability. Really being able to, first off, it's not like a $300 action figure. I'm not nearly as worried about it, right?
Right.
And so I'm like perfectly fine with, going to town and getting some wild poses and stuff. And that figure was very posable. And that really did kind of open my eyes to what modern 1/12 scale action figures were.
Yeah.
And I found that I really enjoyed not only the look and feel of them, but the posability. I at this point these days, I always have a few figures on my desk and just within reach. And if I'm in a meeting or something, I will pick one up and I will put them in some poses and goof around with them and thing as I'm, kind of listening or, just passively being in meetings. And I love it. I really love to get cool poses. And, now I'm even like making, command consoles and things like that to help continue to bring my collection to life and those sorts of things. So that's really, what's got me to my current state of collecting. What I think is interesting, that's a big difference between the two of us, is how nostalgia driven you are and how not nostalgia driven I am.
Yeah.
We overlap in what we collect.
Yeah.
But the reasons for doing it is totally different.
I have a representation of everything I collected as a kid. He-Man, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Ninja Turtles, even like Micro Machines and Hot Wheels and stuff. I have stuff from like both of those lines. I'll pick up at a Toy Con something random. Like I picked up the Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters, vintage Ghostbusters. Stuff like that I had one-offs of, and a lot of that is I had this as a kid. I bought a He-Man figure, OG figure, because it's the one that looked like my dad, the guy that comes with the gun that comes out the front. I can't think of his name right now, but but I don't have to go hard crazy at that entire line, and I have a couple G1 Transformers. Like I was gonna go, okay, I'm gonna get mini bots, and I'm just real hesitant about diving into G1 Transformers, but it's kind of inevitable. Like there's gonna be some that I'm gonna get, but like the Missing Link line came out, and it was like, all right, that put a halt to that, because all right, I'm getting a Missing Link Grimlock, because all right, I'm gonna pay $250 for a vintage Grimlock, or I can get the Missing Link Grimlock for $200, and it's more articulated and it's newer and it's not gonna break and it's not missing pieces, and there's just modern collecting has come around to a point where we can do stuff like that. And Ninja Turtles, like you don't hear me talk about Ninja Turtles much because there hadn't been a whole lot to come out, but like,
well, there's been a whole lot, but maybe not.
Yeah, there's been a whole lot. Not a whole lot of what, like the 1990 Turtles. That's me. Like Nika 1990 Turtles. I got what I want. I don't have it all. I got what I want. Like I even went with Super 7 with the classic Turtles. That's my classic representation of old school Turtles is Super 7. Are they the best? No. But do they look good on the shelf? Yeah. So I have my representation of that stuff. And then there's other stuff coming out, like the whole Last Ronin thing. If you've read The Last Ronin, you'll know why I want the Last Ronin figures. Like I'm excited that I got the notification that all the new Turtles are coming out. The second generation. If you haven't read The Last Ronin, go read it. Yeah, NECA's the second. Odin, Yi, and I can't. Their names evade me off the top. Of my
have
head.
not read that stuff yet. I read the first series of The Last Ronin and thought it was really good.
Read the second. It's a continuation of it's how the story evolves.
Yeah.
like think about GI Joe. We're still buying 80s GI Joe right now. We're buying Classified. We're buying 80s GI Joe. But that was in the 80s. There's a lot of time that's passed since then. Where's the next generation of GI Joe? Where is it evolved? Why hasn't it evolved?
Why?
Into something else? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
And, I think that's interesting, and it kind of goes back to something that I think we were hinting on a little bit, or skirting around some. Saturday morning cartoons definitely drove us and gave us those things, and the desire when we were that age to, get those toys. And now we're still feeding off of that nostalgia some, but there isn't the same kind of Saturday morning cartoons around, and I think comic books can be that.
Yeah. We're getting the Energon universe for Transformers. Where's my Energon universe GI Joes? Like, you're getting some of them. Yeah. You get some of them. But there's so much they can do to keep pulling people in, because after us 40s and 50-year-old dudes are out of toy collecting, what happens then? Right.
There's some large industry right now, but man, it's a narrow age margin of action figure collectors.
And in NC Underground Toy Swap, I see it. There's some young people in the collecting world, but the more and more younger people you see are into Pokemon cards, or they're into anime, or they're into, all this stuff that we don't know anything about, because, manga stuff, Dragon Ball even. Like, I was old enough to know what Dragon Ball was, and I watched the first couple seasons, but then there's people that watched it, like Power Rangers. I watched the first season of Power Rangers, but I was old enough that I was like, that's not for me.
Yeah.
And you might have been the same way with Ninja Turtles. Like, I know you have some Ninja Turtles, but like, were you really into Ninja Turtles when you were a kid? But it was kind of right there at that. It was right at that time where you were into teenage years.
Yep.
You were right on the cusp of Ninja Turtles.
I was right really on the cusp. The movie, the movies. Those are my Ninja Turtles.
Right.
Not the cartoons. Yeah.
But see, I watched the cartoon and I loved it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's the thing. Personal preference and personal experience is what drives any and all choices in collecting. Really.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can't fault anybody for making their own choices on stuff, man. Like, collect what you like, enjoy what you like, and I'll
you happy. There are a lot worse things that you could be spending your money on.
I mean, before I was into action figures and comics, I was a hardcore gamer. I played Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 every night. I didn't have anything else to do. I'd come home. I was divorced. I was either spending time with my kid or I was playing Battlefield. I didn't have the money to do anything else.
Yeah.
And that got me through that time, and I made good friends that I'm still friends with, over gaming, but I don't game anymore. So
yeah, I think it's interesting, the path that we always kind of take. It's always a bit winding, but we always kind of, we're driven by our heart and our heads, and, we've got nostalgia that can pull us this direction, or, the coolness of this or that from that direction. And I think it's interesting. And I do really believe that, like, there is a lot worse stuff that we could be spending our money on,
Exactly.
And what I think is also kind of interesting too, and taking this maybe going a little bit different direction now. Has there been anything that you've picked up that you were thought, man, I might want to collect that, and you picked up one or two and you were like, nope, I'm out?
Yep.
Like what?
Like, I mean, honestly, I did that with Mythic Legions. I liked it, but I didn't like it enough that I was going full medieval. I didn't want to go full medieval. So that's when I was like, all right, Action Force. Well, all right, Action Force is European G.I. Joe, and these are modern military figures, and I like that stuff, so I'm going to go that direction, And then, there's other things I picked up here and there, like Savage Crucible. I went hard at Savage Crucible for a bit. I got all the Lemurians and I got all the second wave, and then I realized, hey, I don't really need these.
Yeah.
And so I've sold most of them off. I still have a few for sale, but like, I'll make it on eBay, by the way. But like, I've, I like them. I think they're cool. But do I have space or want to extend that collection? Not really.
Yeah.
And I love Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. I think it's a great line. I don't have it on display at the moment. I have a couple on display, and they're really good figures. But am I going to continue that if I don't have anywhere to put them?
That is definitely a driving force behind some decisions. Some of the thought processes that go in your head, are really, I like this. I think this is cool, but I don't know where I'm going to put it.
Right. I'm so dedicated to G.I. Joe Classified and Transformers now that, like, even with Valverse, like army building stuff, I'm pulling multiples. I sold 10 Cobra Troopers to somebody because they wanted them and I wanted to get rid of them, and I got plenty more. So it was, I gave them a deal, they got a deal, I got some money to buy something else. It's choices you make throughout collecting, but even blockies, man, like, that's a whole nother story. Like, I dove into blockies because I thought they were cool. It's like, why do I need these? And I even thought that, why do I need these when I have the other stuff? If I did vintage, I'd go Starcom. Yeah. You went Starcom. You've got some Starcom figures, yeah?
Yeah, I've been starting to touch on some Starcom. And I'll be honest, like, I want the Star Max Bomber. Like, that's the one that I really want right now. And it is hard to find either complete or not yellowed all to hell. So I might start, like, going a different direction.
But you're going to be going to cons with Otherworld Arsenal, and you might find some good Starcom.
It's true. Yeah, I am looking for that. I think Starcom, I had a lot of fun with that when I was a kid. The action features and stuff. I picked up one at a swap not too long ago. It's like the bad guy's tank that, like, extends, and it has the tracks that can kind of fold around, and I love it, but this is definitely a toy where it's like, I want it out of the box, I want it in good condition, and be able to kind of goof around and play with it. So
yeah. So that kind of brings me to a question for you, because we both kind of have the same journey when it comes to toy cons. How has toy cons changed your collecting world?
There have been a couple of excitement-based purchases that were not advisable.
Yeah.
Actually, a few of them. This show has also led to some of those kind of excitement-based purchases.
Yeah.
But I'm all in for the experience. So going to shows, you've seen me. I am super picky when it comes to buying at shows. I can go to a show and not buy anything and still be happy that I went.
Yeah.
But because that's like, in my head, I either have something specific I'm looking for, or it's something that I find that I wasn't aware of, which is rare. And that it's kind of like, oh shit, I need that, unexpectedly. So,
well, I'm over here with the wallet burning a hole in my pocket. I got to buy something.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You're a little bad about that.
Well, it's like I did that with Vintage Joe's, man. It was like, I went to Joe Fest and I was like, I got one of those and one of those and one of those and one of those. All right, I'm tapped. I'm done.
It happens. Yeah. But, like, I also, and I don't know, maybe this is something that I need to get over, but I have a hard time buying something that's not complete. I've never really been one to, like, I'll just get this and then later on I'll find the gun or something along those lines.
It's really hard to do.
It is.
Yeah. I think, a lot of times you're like, this is such a good deal, I need to get it now. Like, and I've had those purchases too, and then I regret it. Like, okay, I should have waited and got something more complete than that. And I think those are lessons you learn as a toy collector the hard way. And I think we all have to learn our lessons the hard way, especially, and that influences our decisions going down the road. Yep. I learned this lesson the hard way, so I'm not doing this anymore.
And you might not learn the lesson. The hard way might be different for everybody.
True.
But you might not, as an individual, learn your lesson until it becomes the hard way for you.
Yeah.
And I think that, it's interesting because I did have some notes that, we've kind of gone over some stuff that we've been talking about, but I've had some kind of like almost collecteds. And one of them I am still doing, another one I'm not, another one where it was like, no, that just did not happen. Basic Gundam, I started, I picked up a Gundam model kit, and I'm looking at it right in front of me, right up here, and that thing has been in a state of not fully assembled for a number of years at this point. And that's a no-go for me. I'm good. The model kits aren't my thing. But I've also done, I tried to do, and I'm kind of still doing it, the Joy Toy Warhammer 40K stuff. But I am keeping that very limited to like the Primarchs. Right. I did get the Big Knight because I felt like that was a cool centerpiece for the collection. But even now, like they've got a couple more that they've come out with that I haven't purchased yet, and it's kind of like, man, there's like 20 of them. If you didn't know, there's like 20, and I think there's maybe 18 that they'll make. That's a lot, and they might do multiple versions of them, and it's kind of like, man, I really need to, kind of focus and get what I want with those specifically. Right. But I might do that, but I did decide that I am not doing a whole bunch of the other stuff. Right. Because
when you complete those Primarchs, is there anything you might change your mind? You might go down, do something else. I don't know anything about that line, so I can't say there's another line that you might go after, but
yeah. I heard that, Joy Toy is going to do StarCraft. I'm Maximilian. I'm definitely trying to stay away from the 125th scale stuff. The stuff that I'm doing is with the Primarchs, and that's all 1/18th. Like I said, I did get the Big Knight, and I do love it. He's super cool, and I'm just going to keep that as kind of like a centerpiece, but I'm not getting like the tanks. I'm not getting their big, dreadnoughts or anything like that. I picked up one of their, I think it's Dark Source, 1/18th scale mechs, and it's super cool too. I've showed it off on the show, and I got one or two of them for cheap from Dustin when you and I went over to his house. We bought some stuff.
He had a bunch of stuff. Yeah,
but I'm not doing anymore. Right. I think it's cool, but I don't need to have more of it. What I have, I like. But the one thing that I'd say it's a collection, but to me, it's like 90% complete, is my Transformers Masterpiece collection.
Okay.
I've got Optimus Prime, I've got Grimlock, I've got Cosmo, I've got Starscream, Galvatron, Soundwave, and Shockwave. Mm-hmm. I really want to get a proper Megatron. Right. And I have, I've got the Takara Tomy Jetfire Masterpiece, but I don't like it. He's very cartoon. It's a cool figure. It has tons of accessories and neat play features and stuff, but it's very cartoon.
He's very Skyfire.
Yeah, and I want what I'm actually looking for is they made an oversized version of the Siege Jetfire, Skyfire, in like a masterpiece scale.
Okay.
If
That's
I got
really good.
Megatron,
great.
Yeah, I've got that, and it's actually on my shelf. It's just too small. If I got Megatron and I got that Skyfire figure, Jetfire, whatever you want to call him, Jetfire, yeah. I would say that my masterpiece collection is basically complete for me.
Yeah.
But I'm looking for those figures, but I am not like, I don't have eBay alerts for Megatron. I haven't. Right. At one point, I actually did pull the trigger on the oversized KO of that Jetfire, but the guy didn't ship it after a month, and so I ended up just canceling the order. Oh, wow. Got my money back and was like, not dealing with you.
Stuff happens for a reason sometimes,
Yeah.
You might stumble upon it later on, and
Yep. I'm not worried about it. And I suppose that some of these figures could get replaced if a newer, better version comes out that's a lot better. but there hasn't been. And, like, I'm really happy with the versions that I have right now. So, that's
So would
kind
you
of
only do Masterpiece, or if like Fans Toys or anybody came out with something that was what you wanted, would you go down that path or different brand?
Fans
Or it would have
Toys
to be
only
Masterpiece?
does Masterpiece, I think.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I mean, I've sticking to the Masterpiece scale with those.
Right. Okay.
And I think I only have one or two Fans Toys. I've got some that are kind of like Fans Toys under another name.
Right.
And I've got Next Transbots and a couple of weird other ones. And it's really just been, what's been fun about that collection is there's not a ton of the characters that I'm in love with.
Mhm.
I wouldn't mind having like, what's his name? Power Glide and Warpath. Those would be cool too. But I'm not like, oh, I have to go and get those,
Right.
So it's really just kind of fun because there's so many versions of each of the characters. Like multiple companies have made Grimlock, multiple companies have made Optimus Prime or, Galvatron.
Everybody's made Optimus Prime.
And it's fun to go and say, okay, I'm going to look at, these 4 different versions of Optimus Prime and, oh, I think that one looks the coolest, or maybe that one looks the coolest, but I think this one is actually better built. And so maybe I'll get that one, that's fun, but I think I'm kind of past that now.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've got the bulk of the characters that I really enjoy. I really could use to replace my Shockwave though. It's the Takara Tomy one.
Mhm.
And I bought that before I realized that most third-party Masterpiece are better than first-party.
Right.
And it's a good figure, but there are other third-party ones that are better.
Right.
So yeah, Maximilian has MP36. I think that's Megatron, right? If so, I'm jealous. I didn't realize he was maybe delicate, or maybe you're just saying you're worried because he's expensive. But man, at Joe Fest last year, I think it was Joe Fest. It was Retro Toy Con. There was a lady that had a whole booth of Masterpiece Transformers. And I got to the booth right behind the guy that snagged the MP36 Megatron and like was talking to her about it. And I was like, oh, if he doesn't buy that, I'm getting that thing. And sure enough, he walked out with it and he paid next to nothing for it. I think she sold it to him for like $120.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it happens, but yeah, it's interesting, dude. I do enjoy seeing you go whole ham into your collections.
Yeah.
It's something that I don't know. It would be hard for me to do like that,
Yeah.
But hey man, that's why I like I like our show. I like this relationship we have because we're not doing the same thing all the time, and it's fun to get chat's input on what they're doing. I'm curious for chat or Replay Squad. Do comic books play a part in your collecting? Do they drive your love for a character? And I mean like actually reading the comic books. So I'd be curious. Drop a comment. Drop a message in chat if you're active here. But I'd be interested here because I know it's T Rizzo said mention reading the Infinity Gauntlet.
Infinity Gauntlet, yeah.
And that would definitely have a good impact. And yeah, Maximilian, I see you're still talking about Megatron, and I didn't realize he was that expensive now. But isn't Fans Toys threatening to make one? If so, I'm holding out for that, but we'll see. I've seen one here and there, but there's also knockoffs of them that I'm worried that I would
read them if I just seem to buy them. I mean, they stack up, and I think a lot of us know that is like, where do you find time to read comics when you're doing toys? I got comics from today that I need to read, and so maybe tomorrow I'll find. Usually I do it on Wednesday afternoons, between the wife goes to the gym or something, or between dinner, I'm sit there, I'll read a couple comics. But I did want to bring up one thing, Marvel Legends. I was a big Marvel Legends collector on the get-go, and I went hard at Marvel Legends over a long period of time. And now they just keep seem to regurgitating newer versions of figures. And it puts me off. Like, I got Archangel in the case over here, and I'm happy with that Archangel. They came out with a new one. They just announced a new one. And it looks good, but am I going to get rid of this Archangel? Nobody was going to buy it because they're going to buy that other one. Yeah. So, no, why should I even buy the new one? You know, it's great for the people that weren't in, that can get it. And that just kind of makes me feel like, okay, well, are they thinking about the people that have been in for a while? You'll get the AB, you'll get the CDE character that nobody freaking cares about that ends up at Ollie's. And, you know, sometimes I question how Hasbro thinks, Lord of Brooklyn.
You know, I think we don't give them enough credit. I legitimately think that they incrementally upgrade their figures, and they do it in a small, very small, minute way, just to stretch out and get more money from you, get you to buy the new Wolverine, you know, because you skipped the last two, and this one has a better ab crunch.
The Spider-Man that has a quarter of him that's venomized. Give me the full venomized. You know, like, I don't want the quarter. Next time you're going to give me half. Next time you're going to give me 3/4. Like, how many Spider-Man are there in Marvel Legends? I'd love to know that number, because the number is insane.
Spider-Man and Wolverine. Yeah.
Spider-Man, Wolverine, yep. And I got most of the Wolverine, so.
Yeah. Well, dude, I think we've talked this one to death, and we're almost at time anyway. I think this has been a really cool conversation.
Yeah.
It's fun to kind of think about, you know, what drives us, what gets us to go and pull the trigger on this toy versus that one. You know, and I'd love to hear, you know, what you guys, you know, have to say. It's been fun, you know, reading the comments here too, but, you know, Replay Squad, go ahead, definitely chime in. Yeah, so I think we can call this one, don't you? I think we're kind of at a good spot.
And if you like this conversation, share it with somebody.
Absolutely.
Go see what these guys were talking about, and you know, send it to somebody, and they might like it.
Yeah. So we didn't get to much else, which just means we're going to have even more, you know, of our normal segments next time around.
Yeah.
And we've got some new stuff that has dropped recently. We've got I've got some stuff that I pulled together from Wonderfest. I think New York Toy Fair is happening very soon, so we'll have some stuff from that to talk about. And I think I know of some other things that we're going to have happening on the show in the near future that I'm excited about too. So
cool.
Always always fun hanging out with Chat and you, and keep coming back, and hopefully, you know, we can keep this thing going.
Don Moreno G.I. Joe Classified drops tomorrow. Don't miss out.
Yep. Oh, and on the PSA, the Sexy Ice Smasher reissue repaint is only going to be available to buy, I think, until Friday. And on Saturday, they're putting up the dogs. The dogs are only going to be available for pre-order for like a week. Not even a week. I think it's like 6 days. If you want those things, go and get them. They're awesome. So
awesome.
Well, let's call it. It's been fun.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to you guys later.
Peace.
Yeah, we were on a mission, got my crew at my side. Scouring the shells, we're down for the ride. Plastic warriors all lined up tight. From the comic shop counters to the late night site. It's the thrill of the hunt, gotta make it mine. I'm out here searching, yeah, taking my time. I'll flip every aisle, don't care what it takes. For that rare chase piece, I'm raising the stakes. Action figure alliance, yeah, we're bringing the noise. Rolling deep, rolling heavy with my action toys. Collectors unite, we're breaking the chains. Plastic in hand, we're playing no games. From legends to villains, yeah, I got 'em all.